Yeah, so let's start. Welcome everyone to week 3, Prayers and Meditations, series 5. And so we have two prayers today for reflection, December 2, 1912, and this one, December 5, 1912. This is what we'll be taking up. So let's start with the first prayer. I think we can go prayer by prayer because then we can be focused on this prayer itself first and then take up the next one. So anyone who is ready to share their reflections and insights on this prayer, please unmute and go ahead. Yeah,
My turn today.
please. I'm so happy. Yeah, very good. Please go. Yeah.
I remember, so I better. So long as one element, no, sorry, December 2nd, 1912. So long as one element of the being, one movement of the thought is still subjected to outside influences, not solely under thine, it cannot be said that the true union is realized. There is still the horrible mixture without order and light. For that element, that movement is a world of disorder and darkness, as is the entire earth in the material world, as is the material world in the entire universe. What I understood out of this prayer was that what Mother always says, that even if one element in the human being or one movement of thought is away outside the influence of the rest of the consecration taking place or surrender being there, that one element of the person is usually the one in chaos, in darkness, and that itself is a movement by itself. It's another world of its own, a dull, dark, bad, disorder world. So union can never take place in such circumstances. And in um, the next part, she says that it's a world of disorder and darkness, like the earth is in the entire material world, where she makes a comparison, and the material world is in chaos in the entire universe. It's a very beautiful, though it appears simple prayer, but it's so profound, because even if one something is not consecrated fully, it's chaos and disorder and darkness definitely there. It's never total. That's what I felt out of it. Though it was pretty simple for me to comprehend this one, I was happy.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Yeah. Yes. So anyone wants to go next on this one itself, this prayer, December 2?
I'll go, Monica.
Please go ahead, Chitraji.
Okay. Yeah, though it seems a very simple prayer, for me it is more than a prayer. Actually, it denotes actually our contraries. A lot of contraries are inside. So it really pointed out that I felt like that. And the whole lot of emphasis is really in practicing sadhana. I felt like that actually. Maybe for a lifetime to, drive away all the contrary elements in us actually. So nowadays, especially, I felt because of this technological improvement and all, we get lot of answers, 100 answers for a single question, no, actually. So it is really difficult. Everything goes inside and created lot of chaos inside actually. It is very difficult to come out of it. If you see, if you put a question in the Google, or if you want to have any answer from the net for any problem, so many answers are there. So many, I mean, even for a small illness, it will enlarge, I mean, enlarge the thing, no, actually. So for the like that, there are so many things it's going inside nowadays. Maybe now we need lot of, I mean, that peace and samatha inside to have total faith without any doubt in divine's, I mean, protection actually. So these things came up to me because there are so many controversial elements in us. They are building up. Though the technology is in one way, it is helping us, of course, for all these satsangs and everything, but it's also creating a lot of chaos inside actually. So yeah, everything has to be surrendered to divine, and we have to have full faith in that divine protection. And also all the contrary elements should be, I mean, driven out actually. So for that, we have to make the prayer to Divine Mother herself. There is no other way. She only has to remove all the contrary elements in us to unify the being and again surrender to her fully. So I felt, I mean, more than a prayer, I mean, this is a thing we have to contemplate upon, and we have to bring with the grace of Divine Mother. This is the thing I want to share. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Yes. Who wants to go next?
Monica ji, if I can speak.
Yes. Yeah, Jishnu ji. Yeah.
Yeah. So here, as both Chitraji and Jyotsna ji had covered, so how I viewed this is, Mother on a separate talk has said, unifying different parts of the being. Similarly, with psychologist and Jung also speaks, integration of different parts of the being. And here, though it's a very, very brief prayer, I see that Mother is saying here that even as one element of the being, one movement is still subjected to outside influence, which is basically not under the influence of the divine, not guided by the light, not under the guidance of the psychic influence. And Mother is saying, which means that that part is still not under the light. There is a horrible mixture with darkness in conscience. And I think it's a very brief prayer, but it's like a seed, you know, it's like a seed of a very large tree, which Mother spoke differently. And that large tree is unifying the different parts of the being by bringing light to different parts of the being. And that, I think, is hinted, though not directly spoken, but it's like hinted in this prayer, you know, as long as that is not done, the union is not complete. She has not spoken about that it should be done or anything else here, but she just said that how difficult it is as long for any sincere seekers, as long as such union is not established, because then different parts pull you to different things. And to Satpram, I remember she said, he asked that why is it so that one part of us, our being is wanting something, whether the other part is something else, why we fail to unify. And then Mother is saying the basic reason is insincerity, because we don't want the same thing from all parts of our being. That is how I reflect on this prayer.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Jishnu ji. Yes. Yeah, Swapna, you want to share next?
Yeah, I think the horrible mixture
Please go ahead. Yeah.
is, yeah, it seems everything I read goes directly to my experience and, you know, what's going on for me currently or in general. And so seeing like that's a mirror, those words of the horrible mixture in myself. And yeah, just the awareness, increasing the awareness of the one part of me that wants the harmony and peace, and yet then the vital or ego voices, the mental disharmony that can come in with doubts or questioning or arguments, whether it's about something at an inner level or an action that needs to be taken in the outer world, right? And then also some level of comfort in that, knowing that I'm not alone in this, that Mother here is indicating that it's a reflection of, you know, what's going on in my being and my body is just a microcosm of the macrocosm. Yeah. And then I find always the beauty in Mother's words of always this promise, you know, an inherent promise of the possibility of this true union that has not yet been realized, yet the possibility always existing. So an encouragement. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, beautiful. Yes, Swapna. Yeah, thank you so much. So, you know, all of you shared very, very beautifully all the elements. I think already many elements got covered, many important ones. And, you know, I would resonate with what just now Swapna shared, that the more, you know, even when we started with this living light or whatever, you know, goes on with all these sessions, you know, I was in extreme darkness when we started the sessions. And that was when I resonated deeply with everything I came across. For example, these prayers, you know, they just begin to resonate very, very heavily in my being. You know, Savitri, the pain, the problem of pain, you know, the yoga of soul's release. So all that started to resonate very deeply somehow. And when I was not going through that much of darkness and challenging experiences, somehow for me, they did not. So I had an inclination to go through them. I always wanted to maybe come to Savitri, but it was all Greek and Latin to me. So the more I went through my own deeper challenges, dark, you know, dark most, I would say, challenges in life, the more these things began to make more sense. So Mother also shares, you know, for Savitri, that keep on reading these lines, you know, the mantric lines. Chitra ji has shared so many times that just keep on reading, like, you know, just you do like a mantra. And when in your own experience, your own life experience, you will go through something, then that line you will resonate with. And that has been happening, you know, for all of us who are with Savitri for a longer time. And as our unfolding of experiences goes through, we also begin to resonate deeply with Savitri. Yes, we are not completely where Sri Aurobindo wants to take us, the over and super mind, but yet there still is a resonance. There is something in me which resonates with Savitri, which wants to come to it again and again, which finds hope, courage, and strength and light in Savitri. Yeah, so absolutely, with, you know, what Swapna just shared in the last, that my own experiences, this is a reflection of my own experiences, that the moment I work uh, inclined towards the ego, you know, you don't even realize, because ego is like a falsehood, you know, it just overpowers you. It comes like a dark cloud, and you are taken away. Many a times, if you are not aware, you are taken away, and you do many actions in the dark cloud of the ego. And then you realize that if you read this prayer, then, you know, you realize that yes, that is what I experienced this extreme horrible mixture without order and light, where you don't want to be there. You know, when we are dealing with all this chaotic elements in our being, which are not really uh, inclined or turned fully towards the divine, we know how much chaos they cause in the being. All of us are aware, at different point of our times we have experienced those elements. So that's what, you know, makes this prayer so special. Little prayer, but very potent for our practical, you know, day-to-day life. And let's go over again, and then I'll just share whatever I picked up from your sharings. So, so long as one element of the being, so this just tells me that the journey is long. You know, it brings me back on the ground again and again. one element of the being. And I know my own status, not only one element, many elements which I don't even know they are existing. They are not completely turned towards the divine. And whenever I fail in my day-to-day life, whenever I see myself making errors and mistakes, there I see that, hey, this element, it was wanting something else. It was not wanting unification with the divine. It still wanted its lollies and candies from the past. Yeah. So, and Alokda, I remember in one of the beautiful reflections, he shares that it's like, imagine that there is a family which is going, and father, mother, and little children are walking ahead. So father goes really far ahead, but the little children are not able to keep pace with the father. So they take their time. So the father slows down. He waits for the little children to also come up and catch his pace. So this is what happens with our neither members of the being. Especially the vital, the emotional being, the mental rigidities, opinions, dogmas, the physical inertia, the past vrittis, sanskaras, all those little innumerable elements, they're not yet ready. The psychic is ready, the soul is all ready to progress, but all the elements still want to take their own time. And that is where the father slows down. So the psychic has extreme perseverance or patience. That is where self compassion comes, that okay, I'm going to be kind to myself. Yes, I have seen the error, but I'm not going to say that I'm unfit for the yoga. I am okay for the yoga. I will go ahead and I will take my own time. I know that I'm not perfect yet, and I will deal with my imperfections as I deal with a young infant child, very calmly, very patiently. So there comes this. This one element, that there are so many elements still not consecrated, as the word that Jyotsnadi was using, not completely wanting to be with the divine or purify itself. It is in love with its impurities. Yeah. One movement of the thought is still subjected. Imagine one movement of thought, and in the whole day, umpteen number of movements of thoughts are there, and we know how many of them are consecrated and how many of them are just here and there and here and there. And the moment I become aware, I have the capacity, there is a possibility that I turn it to the divine. So one thing which we have been also dealing with, the in the pain and suffering course, the moment I see that there is a negative loop of movement owing to my older tendencies, patterns of thinking and emotions, the moment I see it, now that I am a bit more aware, what I do is, as I transform it, I reaffirm it. So if I am concerned about a relationship going wrong and all my thoughts are going there again and again, what I say, the mother knows the best. She is guiding us towards something beautiful. The moment I say this, I put a rest to the negative loop of thoughts. So it has to become my mantra. Any reaffirmation has to become my mantra, so that the older negative patterns of loop, they become, they do not have much hold on me now. So mother says, when she describes about power of thought and imagination, she says that human beings have a tendency to run their mind all the time. So in case you want to run all the time, run it in a positive direction. That I am going to be better and better. We will become better and better. There will be more harmony in relationships, there will be more empowerment in relationships. So run your mind in this direction, if at all you have to run. So this is how another way of the thought, transmuting the thought which is still subjected to what other people said about me, what I thought of other people, all these things that go on in the head. Yeah. Not solely under thine, it cannot be said that the true union is realized. Now, in one moment, there may be that we have experienced that you are fully with the divine. There can be moments that each and every part of the being you feel resonating and not wanting anything but with the mother, enough with the mother. But then something comes up, and immediately you find yourself thrown in a stream of desires, expectations, demands, thought impulses. And there you see that, the consecration does not, or the union does not remain the same as you felt in that particular moment in the past. So it has to happen moment to moment. This union has to happen moment to moment. I cannot say that if in one moment of life I have become unified, I feel that there is a unification, I cannot say that that will remain forever, because there are so many innumerable influences, external triggers that can just sway me again and put me astray. Yeah, so that is why Kabir also says in his own couplets that the sadhak, or the walker on this path, has to be vigilant as long as he has breath in the body. He can never say that my task is over, that the union is complete. Yeah, so that kind of a vigilance is required. Yeah, until that point there is still the horrible mixture, and all of us, I can guarantee, at least for myself, all of us have tasted this horrible mixture whenever we have fallen a prey to these influences, where we are not solely under the divine influence. There are things from the past, or desires and demands towards the future, which are guiding us. Yeah, this horrible mixture without order and light, and no one wants to be there. I think it's beautiful that these sensations are unpleasant in nature, because the very fact that they are unpleasant in nature tells me that this is not the right path to go. Yeah, so the moment I sense this unpleasantness of anger, unpleasantness of hate, the burning in my tummy of jealousy, ill will, hatred, or even negative loop of thinking, all that unpleasantness tells me that the path is not right. I have again gotten straight. So I can take my time then to come back home again. So it's good that these sensations are unpleasant. It's for a signal that they're unpleasant. For that element, that movement is a world. Imagine, not even a little. So we are saying that it's a little element, only one element, but it's an unending world in itself, of movements, of disorder, of darkness. You don't even know what all is getting entangled there, what all vrattis and sanskaras from the past are coming up and infusing, tangling up in themselves, as is the entire earth in the material world. Look at, imagine that you are in space. Now look at the earth. The natural beauty is there, yes, but the chaos, the human chaos on this earth, that is also very, very visible. So earth is a field for progress, and wherever progress will be, there will always be chaos. We have to grow in our strength to go through chaos, so that we can proceed ahead in progress. The whole entire earth in material world, and the material world in entire universe. So the material world itself, not only the earth, but the material world of asteroids and what all is there in the universe, that also is in chaos, darkness, and disorder. So I wonder where it goes, such depth of this, almost vastness we can sense here when she says material world in the entire universe. And also, as Swapna was pointing out, the microcosm, we are all kind of a reflection of what is going on in the whole universe, the microcosm in the macrocosm. Yeah, and I think Jishnuji was touching upon the psychic influence, which is again very, very important here, because that's why we sense the uneasiness in the being. Mother says that if you have tasted the psychic, if the psychic has even for a moment come forward, you would feel very uneasy doing things which are not under the influence of the psychic. But hota kya hai, many a times it happens that the flow or the momentum of desires and ambitions and greed and lust, it is so strong that you continue in that uneasiness for a very, very long time. When and one day you became capable of realizing that all that happened was just a very wrong movement being taken forward for a very, very long duration. But again, this reminds me of Savitri's line that the supreme diplomat makes even any fall a greater, into a greater rise. And that I have experienced with myself also, that even if I have not been awake enough to wake up to the psychic influence or the inner light, many a times driven just blindly by the tendencies. Even then, towards the end of the situation, I have seen that the whole experience has given me so much gain. I have gained so much through that fall, which I could not have gained through, a so-called normal, okay life. So I don't regret falling, so many falls again and again. I somehow see that that's also a blessing from the divine, all the falls that are there in our lives. Yeah. So yeah, I think Jishnuji also touched beautifully on insincerity, and mother shares on this, that the day you are unhappy, just tell that you are insincere. And insincere means that you are wanting something else than the divine. That is where the insincerity is, that usually the mother is enough, but one day mother is also there, but I want something else also, and that becomes the cause of my unhappiness. So that's where mother says that just tell yourself that I am unhappy, surely I am insincere. So that's very important, I think. Yeah. Yes. So anything else? Any more reflection on this prayer?
Yeah, when you are explaining, these lines came in front of me. All contraries prepare her harmony. Actually, yeah.
Sorry, once again, Chitraji.
All contraries prepare her harmony.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it is their adoration of Divine Mother, I think. Yeah.
One thing, I was just going through something today, so I took a snapshot. Um, I was just reading something on Chitta Shuddhi, and there is this some writings by Sri Aurobindo in Tantrika Siddhi Prakaranam. I don't know nothing about it, but here I read a beautiful line which I would share with you. So he says it's like, devoting yourself to the Shakti, or to the mother, the life force. And then it says in one of the shlokas, it says, she lifts the sadhak above the three gunas or modes of nature. And then it says that she is the one, she purifies, she removes all impure samskaras or past impressions. So I think again and again it is reiterated that all we have to do in our life is to keep on giving ourselves absolutely to the mother. And then even mother opens the psychic, mother takes care of all the, spiritual experiences, worldly experiences. This is what we have to just keep at it, I would say. Just open more and more towards the mother, keep ourselves offering to the mother. Mother, I give myself to you, my whole life belongs to you, now you show me the path, you guide me, the movement ahead. And slowly, 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 all the obstacles are turned into beautiful opportunities once we keep on giving ourselves to the mother. Yeah, that's, I think we have gotten a very shortcut key to this path with the mother's presence with us. Yeah.
Yeah, that is the beauty, because first stage it is he wrote synthesis of yoga and essays on Gita, life divine. But next stage he brought mother and made it easy for us, actually. Yeah, in a way. Yeah, it's very beautiful. Yeah.
Great. So let us move ahead. If not anything on this, if there is anything, please unmute and share. Yeah, so I'll just move on. December 5, 1912. So anyone who is ready to go through the prayer first, please go ahead and share.
I'm ready, but somebody else can talk.
No, please go ahead, Josnaji. It would be nice.
I took your bomb very seriously last time.
Have taken. No, just kidding. No, it's beautiful. So I think, we have to keep on challenging our patterns, at times. So it's nice that you took up the challenge. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Please go ahead. Yeah.
December 5th, 1912. In peace and silence, the eternal manifests. Allow nothing to disturb you. and the eternal will manifest. Have perfect equality in face of all, and the eternal will be there. Yes, we should not put too much intensity, too much effort into our seeking for thee. The effort and intensity become a veil in front of thee. We must not desire to see thee, for that is still a mental agitation which obscures thy eternal presence. It is in the most complete peace, serenity, and equality that all is thou, even as thou art all. And the least vibration in this perfectly pure and calm atmosphere is an obstacle to thy manifestation. No haste, no inquietude, no tension. Thou, nothing but thou, without any analysis or any objectivizing. And thou art there without a possible doubt, for all becomes a holy peace and a sacred silence. And that is better than all the meditations in the world. I resonated with this more after my first visit to the ashram, when I had gone and I realized I had asked a senior sadhak that, how do you meditate? What method are you taught? Because I didn't know the methods in the ashram or anything like that, or what was done. And she just said to me that you bring in peace and you bring in silence, and you just be still there wanting nothing. And it is actually, this entire prayer reminded me of that, that in peace and in silence, the eternal manifests if you don't allow anything to disturb you. And it's a certainty if we have the patience to maintain that peace, equality, and silence for the divine to manifest. There, I have heard of a lot of people wanting to see the Lord or Mother in during meditation or in their sleep or in their dreams. And I realized that also will come from the vital. And here, like it is mentioned, the effort and intensity become a veil in front of thee if we take too much effort into our seeking for thee. And that is a mental agitation which obscures thy presence. So, the long and short of this entire prayer is complete peace, complete serenity, complete equality, and the eternal will manifest. We should just not be impatient or be in a hurry or under stress or, just wanting something because we want it or objectivize it. And I think we'll be on the way.
Yeah. Jyotsna ji, I want to invoke you to reflect upon one question here.
Yes.
So, what for you and all of us also, what for us is the meaning of eternal manifesting? And you don't have to respond right now, just take your time.
Mm.
So, when
Okay.
is that, because when you were reading, it just came to me that for us, what does it mean? What does it mean to me when I'm saying the eternal will manifest in peace and silence? So let us take our time and then we can later share our reflections on.
Okay. Done.
Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, so anyone who wants to share next? Shreya, have you read this one? The second prayer, we are on the second prayer. Since you were not there for the first, so I thought I'll just poke you and ask you. Yeah.
No, I haven't actually just reading it now.
Acha, theek hai, theek hai. Okay, all right, no issue. So anyone who wants to go next, please share.
Actually, this is my experience. Jyotsna ji, she just now she shared, no? Because if I can share that personal experience, I don't know. I'll share just actually. When I first saw mother in my dream, no, that actually made me to see her. I mean, that hankering, maybe craving, I can say, but I wanted to see her again and again in dreams. Then I also went and asked one of the sadhak there in ashram, that is that the Deepti publications, it is there, no? Sadhanadi. I asked her actually. Again and again, this thought is coming. She patiently she answered me, it's not a wrong thing to aspire for it, but you should not be impatient. You leave it to mother. Whenever she wants to, I mean, show her glimpse, she will show. Otherwise, don't be impatient. Don't aspire for it. But your aspiration should be towards maintaining that consciousness inside, divine consciousness inside. And leading the life with that consciousness is very important, more than seeing her, I mean, as an image, because all the pictures of mother is containing the same vibration. You can this is the advice she gave me, very nice. And after that time, I became very quiet, and I mean, yeah, that thing till today it is sort of mantra. Maintain that divine consciousness in you, not I mean, go after any experiences or pull down any experiences. Yes, this is my thing I want to share.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah. Jishnuji, you want to go next?
Yeah. So this prayer is naturally very beautiful, and it's written from a very high plane of consciousness. And why I'm saying so, this did not come to me when I was reading it beforehand. Mother realized her psychic being when she was around 20, and she told that around the age of 19 and 20 she realized her psychic being. And this prayer is written much later than that, right? Around another 13-14 years after that. And here she is speaking that even the desire, the uh, the will, the icha to see the divine or to meet the divine is also an incumbent in the path. That is actually a very beautiful and a very high level of thought, I would say. On another direction, of course, it's slightly mental. What I'm saying is, and it connected with what Monica ji just said, that first you give yourself to the quoted the Sri Aurobindo's quote, that you first give yourself to the goddess and she will lift you above the three gunas. So naturally there are three gunas, and to see the divine is also one of the desires. It comes part of the sattva gun. And mother is speaking here above the three elements, and she is saying you go beyond that, where even that willingness, that desire, that ichha is also not there, and you just be the perfect instrument of the divine. When you go beyond that, then you become that perfect instrument. That is what she spoke about, or she's writing here from in this prayer. That is what I felt. Other than, of course, Chitra ji had covered, Jyotsna ji covered about the other aspects, but this is what I felt. It's different than what it's different than what I felt when I was writing. As I went through the discussion now, what you quoted, this is what I felt.
So you're saying that the desire to see the divine is the part of sattva guna, and one has to rise above all three gunas.
Exactly. I mean, see, when the person is beginning, naturally that person will have that, the seeker will have the goal in front of it.
Yes.
And all these prayers are written by the time mother has realized her psychic being. and she knows exactly what she has to do. She knows that she has to become something. So she is going beyond the three gunas. Even Shravinda said somewhere that there are three gunas, you go through them according to your nature, and then you have to go beyond them. And here in this prayer, she's talking about that state of consciousness, which is beyond them. See, if you read Rumi, if you read Kabir, if you read Tulsidas, at times they will say, don't do anything. And what does they mean by that? They mean to some extent probably what Mother is writing here. But that does not apply for normal seekers who are starting, who are in the, beginning of their path, because they have to do something, and they have to bring more light to, not to listen to, which we read about the other prayer, not to listen to the adverse influences, not to listen to the voice of the vital. How do we get over that? We get over that by doing right thing and by not doing wrong thing. And here, by doing right or wrong, I mean truth. Whatever is truth, you follow that. Whatever is not truth, you shun that by doing that. But then you go to a stage of non-doing, and that is what Mother is writing here.
Beautiful. I think Alokda also shares very beautifully in many reflections that he has on prayers and meditations, that this traditional, the bhakti, the bhakt and the Lord. So there is always this yearning to see the Lord, to be with the Lord. And he is many a times, I have heard Alokda sharing that these prayers, or as you are also sharing, Jishnuji, that they go much beyond than that traditional bhakti movement, that there is always a gap between the bhakta and the Lord, because the bhakta does not want to leave or let go of this seeking, for the Lord. And that always, the gap always remains, because the bhakta maintains that identity of separation, that I am the bhakta and there is my beloved, I will be kind of craving for you. So in that craving also, there is a maza also, and there is also a dukh, kind of dukh ras also. But then one has to go beyond that as well. So beautiful that you brought that up. Thank you so much. Yeah, so anyone who wants to share next on this prayer, Swapna, if you're ready.
Yeah, so again, going with this theme thread of applying it directly to my current experience, where this reading of the prayer went in me is, there's a particular challenge I'm facing today that I've put my attention on, and seeing how if I just applied peace and silence, and earlier we'd had a little, WhatsApping you and I, and you talked about the mind going blank, letting my mind go blank if it's too much. So this particular challenge with it being, feeling like too much. And then if I just go to peace and silence, the relief, and so again, this application of this yoga on this lived out plane, right? Not just something with eyes closed or in meditation or in the ashram, and why it always pulls me back, because it's such a bridging of the outer life and the inner life, and therefore it always means so much to me, the yoga. So this prayer, just that of just the comfort, the relaxation of just dropping it, so then the elements of surrender coming in as well. So even in this particular situation, so yes, we should not put too much intensity, too much effort into our seeking for thee. The effort and intensity become a veil. It seems even as I always look for the divine or for her way in handling a matter, then in the efforting, it creates so much tension and stress that that is the, in the lived out level on this external front, it becomes a veil. It stops me feeling her presence. It stops me feeling like the possibility of resolution is nearby. So all that, like just seeing at that level of which the prayer applies. And the serenity and equality or calm atmosphere. Yeah, that the least vibration, this perfectly pure and calm atmosphere is an obstacle to thy manifestation. I know she's not talking about it in terms of where I'm taking it right now for me, yet it applied. I saw that any kind of worry or fear about the outcome or my ability to find a resolution in this situation of mine becomes this obstacle, to thy manifestation, meaning that she is helping, she is moving me slowly towards a resolution in this life circumstance. So to get agitated, then I block myself from being able to hear her, or just block my own ability to follow the leads, that life is showing me. Yes. And then again, this mirroring, that no haste, no inquietude, no tension, thou, nothing but thou. So again, if I get all stressed out, it just defeats the purpose of why I want to live, or even why I am grappling with the situation, right? In the end, a solution needs to be found. So just again, a mirror of things not to do. Yeah. And being able to just be still and even hand this very practical problem over to her in this session as we read this prayer. Just the deep expansion and back to the beginning words. There's a peace and silence despite the fact that it isn't resolved yet. But it feels much better to have peace and silence.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you, Swapna. Yeah, so anyone, any reflections on, see, obviously where mother is coming from and what all is there in the prayer, definitely will not be able to touch on that, but we have to still try and find out what is resonating for me, what is the light here for me. So always whenever we discuss, it's always in reference to our own, in our case, it is how it is helping me. So what does it mean for us, in whatever way, when it says in peace and silence the eternal manifests? And their mother says here again, that the calm atmosphere, even a least vibration in this perfectly pure calm atmosphere, is an obstacle to the eternal manifestation or thy manifestation. So what really is hinting, what do you think it is hinted at? What do you mean by eternal manifesting? If you have, any reflection on this. Yeah.
I basically resonated with the fact that if you have had the luck or the chance even once to connect and experience that utter total peace and silence, in that silence you feel the eternal, then you know what silence is. And you know that when there's that niggling worm which keeps on scratching at you, which is not allowing you to go into a total calm. But once you reach that state of total calm, completely surrendered to the divine, then one doesn't have to think that you have to bring in that total calm. The eternal manifests and the eternal is there. And you will know that you're in a different state.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
you feel different. Even if it's for a few moments, split second, you feel something else. That at that time there is nothing else that comes in your mind. And that's how I resonate with it, that once you have that connect, then everything else on the external front, however automatic it may be, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. Yes. Yeah, anyone else on this? Any thoughts? I remind myself of this beautiful example, which there is this teacher called Rupert Spira. He gives a beautiful example of the dark clouds and the blue sky. So he says that the blue sky, which is forever present, even when the sky is overcast with clouds. We often forget when we are in deeply in our challenges of life, or something is going on in the head and emotions. Those are all dark clouds that are overpowering and not letting us have a look of the blue sky, of this eternal stillness and calm and quietude and a surety within our being that all is fine, all is okay. Even being not okay is okay. As Swapna was sharing, the external dots may not have resolved, but that doesn't matter, because the external dots are nothing but dark clouds. And even if the dark clouds are there, the blue sky is never absent. So in that moment, as Josna ji just shared, in few moments, few interludes in our life, we have spaces, breathers, or many a times it can be actually a state which we carry on throughout our day. It can be, it is our possibility, where nothing is obscuring the blue sky of quietude, assurity and stillness, the calm that mother talks of. So no dark clouds are that overwhelming that they take your attention away from the blue sky. Yes, things are coming and going and coming and going, thoughts are coming and going, but you are established and rooted very beautifully in the blue sky of awareness, just in the Sakshi Bhav, for example. So that reminded me of that image also when we were going through the prayer. Yeah, so let me just actually read out here. I was just going through something, and here Mother describes, Sri Aurobindo actually describes the difference between quiet, calm, peace, and silence. So, because this prayer is absolutely talking about these things also. So, I thought I'll just share. Quiet is a condition in which there is no restlessness or disturbance. Yeah. So quiet is a condition in which there is no restlessness or disturbance. Calm is a still, unmoved condition which no disturbance can affect. It is a less negative condition than the quiet. So as if you are going deeper towards stillness, and quiet comes on the top surface level, and then you have calm, which is a still unmoved condition, no disturbance can affect, and it is a less negative condition than quiet, he says. Then comes peace. Peace is a still more positive condition. So he says calm he was referring to as a less negative one. But peace also, I feel there is a sweetness in peace. So he says peace is a still more positive condition. It carries with it a sense of settled and harmonious rest and deliverance. So this is the quality of peace. And then comes silence. Silence is a state in which either there is no movement of the mind or vital, or else a great stillness which no surface movement can pierce or alter. This reminds me of Mother coming to Sri Aurobindo's room when there was this storm. Mother shares, there was this storm, and I thought I'll go to Sri Aurobindo's room and do his windows and all that. And the moment she entered his room, although outside the weather was affected by the storm, there was no movement in his room. His stillness and silence was all pervading in his room where he was seated or working. So that is the power of absolute silence, just gives me almost, inspires me and gives me almost goosebumps, that outside there is a storm going on and inside there is no movement. All the papers are, not flying. They're just still lying in his room, untouched by the storm. And I feel this also relates with what Swapna was sharing, that in the midst of the in the midst of the chaos, we always have the possibility to find a deeper space in us, which is untouched by all the negative happenings, positive happenings of the external life. Yeah. So that brings us more and more strength to go on this path. So let us just touch upon this very shortly. I think everything is already taken up, but just kind of following it up again. In peace and silence, the eternal manifests. It also gives me a window that the eternal is always manifesting. It's only my drama that obscures the eternal. So the blue sky is never disappeared. The blue sky is forever there. But the dark clouds obscure the blue sky. So this mental agitation, the vital haste, oh my God, I'm not yet there. I'm unfit for yoga. When will this happen? When will I reach a complete serenity, calm and certitude? When will the faith dawn upon me? All these movements are just obscuring the eternal who is already manifesting all the time. What all is there if not the eternal? In peace and silence, the eternal manifests. So the eternal is manifesting if I can stop and be quiet. This reminds me of a little anecdote today. What happened? My kids were playing in their room and I went to their room and there were no fans on and it was hot in there. So the moment I went there, I just switched on the fan. So the elder one said that, Mom, do not switch on the fan, because when you switch off the fan and you go to the other room where the fan is on, there is a lot of noise. You can't really hear much. But when you come from that other noisy room to this room, which does not have the fan on, then you can hear the birds chirping. And I was just, it almost, I was startled and so delighted from inside that, this observation came up in their being, that in the absence of noise, you could hear the birds chirping, which were already chirping, but in the presence of noise, you could not hear them chirp. So that I thought just kind of well resonated here. Allow nothing to disturb you and the eternal will manifest. Again, easier said than done, but it is our possibility. And in whatever moments we can be there, I think it's almost our birthright. We must taste the stillness and silence of the eternal. Have perfect equality in the face of all, and the eternal will be there. So yes, the external is very chaotic. All my relationships are here and there. I don't know what is going on in my job life, workplace, no idea. Yet, in the face of all these storms and havoc, I know that something good is happening. I know that something good is happening. I don't know what is that good, but I know that something good is happening. That kind of a certitude. And then these thoughts also are not required. So I'm just kind of playing it out loud, that these thoughts also become so embedded in your being that you are not needing to chant it like a mantra. You know that whatever will happen will take us to something higher, something more empowering. Yes, you should not put too much intensity, too much effort into our seeking for thee. And I think Swapna also covered this beautifully, and rest of you all covered this, that the too much seeking, Jishnuji was covering on this, too much seeking, too much intensity is again that sattva guna which has to be let go of. We don't have to stick to the gunas. Yeah, they have their purpose, then they have to be let go of. Too much effort into our seeking for thee, the effort and intensity become a veil in front of thee. Yeah, so I am the veil. I am creating the veil. There is no veil per se, but the more agitated I get, the more restless I get, I create my own wall in front of me and the truth or divine or silence. We must not desire to see thee. For that is still a mental agitation. I think Chitraji shared her own experience that I'm glad that then she rested and she said that, okay, if mother comes, even if she does not come into my dreams, I know she's there. So that is a deeper, much deeper faith that even if I do not have any experience of the divine, I know that the divine is, that all there is the divine. So where to run, where to hurry to. Yeah, this mental agitation obscures the eternal presence. It is in the most complete peace, serenity, and equality that all is thou, even as thou art all, and the least vibration in this perfectly pure and calm atmosphere is an obstacle to your manifestation. So it does not mean that the manifestation is not happening, but the manifestation, the mental agitation, the vital haste, it distorts our view, it distorts my perception of things. So in that distorted perception, I will always feel that there is something incomplete. I will always doubt the divine. I will always doubt the workings of infinite intelligence. So that doubt is what obscures the workings of the higher intelligence. Yeah, no haste, no inquietude, no tension. Thou, nothing but thou, without any analysis or any objectivizing, and thou art there without a possible doubt, for all becomes a holy peace and a sacred silence. So, Mother is sharing that I know that you are there because I have also seen all this chaos turning into peace and sacred silence. So, I know you are there. I don't have doubt about that. Yeah. And that is better than all the meditations in the world. So this, not too much desiring, not too much haste, not too much aggression or vital haste of things, external dots to connect or external things to happen, easier said than done again, especially for those of us who have a vital which is very much in action. Because I can empathize with people who have a strong vital, aggressive vital, because yes, Mother says that the vital is a very good servant, but it can be a very bad master, because when it goes on and on in its strong headedness, it can actually bang itself on the walls again and again and get wounded again and again. That happens with those of us who have a strong vital, strong emotional, and then when it's put at the service of the divine, then it is much more a beautiful servant, because it has all the energy, all the fervor to go ahead, and no matter how many times you fail, I will keep on surrendering, will keep on going on this divine path. So that is also that is also coming from the vital. So the enthusiasm also comes from the vital, but the mood swings and all the slack, the lamenting, slacking also comes from the vital. So a beautiful master, a beautiful servant, but a bad master. And that is what our inner work is, to kind of put it on the line slowly. Yeah, and that, Mother says, is the better than all the meditations in the world. So this inner, as if your microscope has turned inwards and you're trying to organize things in the inner being. I think this, uh, Mother points at that this is the best meditation, that you are trying to, okay, this is a element which is obscuring, which is very dark. Okay, let me just reject it or dissolve it. Let me just offer it to the Mother. So you are, as if all the time goes in reorganizing, or making the inner world more and more beautiful, so that it can also reflect upon our in our outer actions more and more slowly, more and more. Yeah, I know we have a long, long, long way to go, but yes, baby steps have to be taken, no matter how long. And even these baby steps are so beautiful, because they give us a purpose, a meaning to go on, and have something to look forward to in our life. Yeah. Yeah, so please share if there is anything else we can, yeah, wind it up. Many a times I also feel that we are thinking that if this external situation goes this and this way, only then the harmony will be there. But this is only a mental rigidity that we have, because we have not seen the other circumstance. Maybe the other way that is unfolding in front of me, which is very hard for me to accept, maybe that brings more harmony and more empowerment to people's lives. So who knows? Yeah. Okay. Yes, Josnadi, sure. So anything else? Any reflection? Any further?
One thing which struck me when you were talking today was, you all must be knowing Dr. A.S. Dalal. He's no more, who authored many books and all. I used to meet him in the ashram 30 years, 32 years back, and progressively till he passed away. And he taught me one thing which probably could help a lot of people. He was in care, the place where people who cannot manage themselves alone in the ashram, they are housed over there. And one day when I went at the appointed time to go and meet him and have a chat with him, he was sitting in a chair, just in peace. And after patiently waiting till he finished, and I asked him, I said, I asked him, how do you do this with so much noise around? Because there are about, I think, 70 or 80 inmates over there, and the whole place bustling with activity. And that's when he told me, you have to practice peace. You practice to bring in peace in any situation. Because I used to be very hassled that I live abroad and I cannot come to the ashram. I need to come more frequently. And he said, no, wherever you are, in whatever situation you are, you practice peace and bring in a calm serenity within yourself. And wherever you are sitting, the eternal, you will feel. A senior man like him telling me, and with such conviction, for half an hour he explained, and somewhere it struck that it's a possibility.
Beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, very important what you shared, Josnaji. You should share more, because Dalalji was a great person and a great psychologist. So thank you.
He was a very patient man, a person. I never saw him get angry in so many years. He had an answer to everything. Every time I would ask him something, he would, if he didn't know, he had the humility to tell you, look, I'll read it up. You come tomorrow at 4 p.m. And I would be there at 4 p.m. And then he would patiently sit and explain. And I realized that where we are immaterial, in which situation we are immaterial. All that mattered is that from our side, we should be able to surrender absolutely, completely, without any holding back. That's why I remembered when Monica was speaking.
Yeah. Thank you, Josnadi. Thank you so much for sharing. Beautiful that you have met him also and interacted with him. Yeah, his compilations are beautiful, all the compilations that he has done. I have been reading his compilations since a few years now. Beautiful compilations. Yeah. So I think then we can end here, if not anything. Thanks everyone for sharing, for taking out time to share and reflect. Yeah. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Monica.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, it's totally peaceful, really. Thank you.
Thank you.